Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, Rasika madam, can you hear me?
Sure, can hear you well. Okay.
Thank you, madam. First of all, I would like to give my profuse thanks to Mr. Isru Jayasundara, who is our Director of English, and Rasika madam for giving me this opportunity to impart my knowledge with the students in the zone. Okay, without wasting time, we shall move on to our lesson today. Children, today I am going to discuss the poem Upside Down by Alexander Kushner. Okay, I will share my screen to you. Please be patient, it will take some time. Okay, children. First of all, we have about the poet, right? I'd like to give some instruction about the poet. Upside Down by Alexander Kushner. The poet was born in Russia into a Russian Jewish family. The poet was born in Russia into a Russian Jewish family. He has published 15 anthologies of poetry. He has taught Russian literature for 5 years. You know, Russian literature is known to be the best in the world, right? Next, his poems were translated into many languages, right? That would do about the poem, right? Next, you have this one. Yes. Okay, Lamai. Now I would like to tell you something. This poem, Upside Down by Alexander Kushner, comes under the category of humor. Now let's see how humor is created. Let's see how this humor is created, right? I would say first, right? Lamai, humor is created by exaggerating human weaknesses. Writers create humor in poetry or else in drama or novels or fiction or movies. Humor is created by exaggerating human weaknesses. That's the way humor is created. Plus a moralistic message. Instructions, teachings, advices are given to us, right? Now, for example, when we have 4 poems under the category of humor. You may have learned The Huntsman by Edward Lowbury, right? There, what is the human weakness we found? You may have found The Huntsman by Edward Lowbury, excessive talking, right? Which is a human weakness. By exaggerating that excessive talking, the writer had created humor. Plus, moralistic message. I'm not going to say it, it takes time. Right, second one, Lamai, The Camel's Hump you may have done by Rudyard Kipling. he talks about laziness, boredom of people, which are human weaknesses. Next, Two's Company, you may have not touched it. It also talks about overestimation, boastfulness of people, which are human weaknesses. Here, I would like to evoke your suspense first, inviting you to find the human weakness you find in this poem. You find the human weakness that is being exaggerated in the poem, right? Okay. Let's move on, right? Now, you have a picture on your screen. I am going to ask some questions, right? Here you have a picture. Lamai, how would this man see the world? How would this man see the world? How would you see the objects around you if you stand upside down? If you suppose yourself, if you stand upside down, how would you see the world? Lamai, you can answer. Yes? How would you see the world if you stand upside down? Yes? Your answers are welcome. Never mind if they are going to be incorrect. Yes? Yes, Lamai, it takes time, valuable time. Lamai, when one stands upside down, he sees the world upside down. Understand? He sees the world upside down. That's what happens, right? The other question, another question I ask you as a warmer, right? How would the others react if you always do things in the wrong manner? How would the others react if you do the things in the upside manner, wrong manner? Yes? If you have answers, okay. Amai, they will ridicule us, all right? They will disrespect us. They will tell us to be fools, stupid. How would you feel if others always laugh at what you do? How would you feel? What is the effect? How would you feel if others always laugh at you when you do outlandish, unconventional things? How would you feel? You may feel angry. You may feel stupid. You may feel angry, annoyed. That is how you feel. Right. Ramai, you better keep a separate paper and a pen to take down the key areas where we are discussing now, analyzing now. Right. I stop my sharing. Okay. Now I am going to read you the poem. Again, I am going to. Right. Upside down. Once there lived an upside down who was the talk of the town. If he was told to turn to right, he turned to left out of spite. If he went sailing in a boat, no one could make him understand why he seemed to be afloat and what had happened to the land. He read his letters backside for and wrote his letters backside for. So if a ton was to be read, he read it not, the underhead. All his life he was afraid to cross a bridge. He would always wait unless the water was too deep or the embankment was too steep. He went into a restaurant. The waiter said, "What do you want?" He said, I would like a pair of socks with clocks on them in a box. The circus came to town one day. Of course, he went without delay, and everyone said Upside Down was funnier than the circus clown. Just yesterday, postman brought a letter to him from his aunt. Shall I read it? Perhaps I ought, perhaps I will, perhaps I can't. He eyed it this way, eyed it that. Then he stuck it in his hat. His auntie wrote, Dearest boy, all you do is to annoy. Wear in flannels when it is hot, going naked when it is not. You must behave as others do if they are to have respect for you. Right. Okay. Lamai, I believe that you are listening to me. Rasika madam, am I clear to you?
Yes, you are clear. Move on.
Okay, thank you, madam. Okay, now let's see the point of view, Lamai. Here we have what is the point of view? What is the perspective of the poet? Third person limited perspective we have, Lamai, here. Third person limited, right? That is the poet. That's the perspective of the poem or point of view, right? Okay, Upside Down, that is the title, right? We are now going to discuss the poem Upside Down. Upside down means, Lamai, the top is at the bottom or bottom upwards, topsy-turvy, right? Bottom upwards. Upside down means bottom upwards. The top is at the bottom, right? Once there lived an upside down who was the talk of the town. If he was told to turn to right, he turned to left out of spite, right? Here you have Upside Down as the protagonist. Here, Upside Down is the protagonist of the work. Protagonist means Lamai, chief character. Upside Down is the chief character, protagonist. You better take it down, right? Upside Down, the protagonist, right? Chief character. Let's see what happens. Once there lived an upside down, the writer says. Once there lived, Lamai, when it comes to the opening of the poem, the opening has a note of fairy tale opening, beginning. This is a fairy tale opening. Fairy tales are meant for children, right? Fairy tales give you moralistic messages, teachings, advices, right, to our life. Likewise, by ridiculing upside down's unconventional behavior, the writer gives us moralistic messages, right? This fairy tale beginning suggests us that the poem is mostly for children. Understand? Fairy tale beginning suggests us that the poem is mainly based on meant for children. It has a narrative writing as well. Take down, Lamai, that. Better you take it down. Fairy tale beginning suggests that the poem is meant for children. Fairy tale beginning suggests that the poem is meant for children, right? Okay. Because Lamai, children are flexible. They can learn and adapt themselves. But when it comes to adults are like huge trees. They are not flexible. When it comes to old people, they are not flexible. They are inflexible, right? So poem is not for them. Poem is mostly for children who can adapt, who can learn and adjust themselves, right? Once they are lived an upside down. From the first line of the poem, because this is a narrative, Lamai, we have the plot chart because this poem is a narrative. This poem is a narrative. Past tense is used. So it's a narrative. It says a story like something, right? So we have the exposition, right? Exposition, complication, climax, and resolution. Those points can be seen here, right? So in the exposition, we can see the attitude of the writer towards this upside down, this protagonist, right? What is the attitude? Once there lived an upside down. Let's see, right? Once there lived an upside down. Who was the talk of the town? Talk of the town is an idiom. Talk of the town is an idiom. Idiomatic language is used in the poem. Who was the talk of the town? Right. Talk of the town means lamai. He's a person discussed by many. He's a person discussed by many in the town, right? But is he famous or popular? Is he famous or popular? He is famous more than being popular. You see, he is famous. For some people, they may not stand him. They may not stand him. He may be famous, but not popular to anyone, everyone, right? Everyone, right? Who was the talk of the town? However, Lamai, who was the talk of the town? A person discussed by many, right? If he was told to turn to right, he turned to left out of spite. If he was to turn to right, he turned to left out of spite. You suppose yourself, suppose about yourself, if your teacher asks you to turn right, you turn right, no problem. That's the conventional way. That's the traditional, conventional, centric way, right? But this man, he turned to left out of spite. Out of means lamai with, out of is replaced by with, can be replaced by with. He turned to left with spite. Spite means lamai ill will, annoyance, right? Ill will. Spite means ill will, akamatting, right? He turned to left out of spite, right? Here we have he turned to left out of spite. That means he doesn't like to do things, act or behave in the conventional way. He does not like to behave in the conventional way. That's why he turned left out of. That's why he turns left with ill will, with annoying. Understand? He doesn't like to behave conventionally. You better take it down. He doesn't like to behave in the conventional way, centric way, right? He doesn't like to behave in the conventional way. That's why he turns to left when he is asked to turn to right. Understand? Okay, next lamai. I have a question. Is this behavior deliberate or not? Is this behavior deliberate or not? You think about it. I have given you 2 questions now. I want to keep you in suspense, right? Suspense is a main tool in poetry. Suspense makes you read the poem from top to bottom, makes you think, makes you live in it, right? Suspense makes you a part of the poem, right? So you have no escape from the poem, right? Okay. He turned to left out of, I will introduce here some sound device, right? When it comes to the last line of the first stanza, sound device could be found. He turned to left out of spite. Left T, you better underline T. Out T underline. Spite T underline, right? It's a technique. It's a sound device, right? Sound technique. Techniques are divided into 4 categories. Techniques related to sound, techniques related to meaning, techniques related to arranging, techniques related to image, right? Techniques can be divided into 4 categories, right? This is a sound device. Here you have, Lamai, the repetition of the same consonant at the end of neighboring words. Repetition of the same consonant at the end of the neighboring words. Left, out, spite. Right. That is known as consonance. What is the sound device? Sound technique. Consonance. CONSONNACE. Consonance. Right. This consonance gives the effect of consonance is that consonance gives attraction to the sound of the poem. You see, each technique has its own specific effect to the poem, to its subject matter, theme. Understand? Each technique used by the writer to offer a specific effect. What is the effect generated by this consonance used by the poet here? It gives attraction to the sound of the poem, right? Okay. Now, when he is told to turn to right, he turned to left, right? That is his behavior, right? He does the opposite of what others normally do. He does the opposite of what others normally do, right? Is not the conventional way, right? I am moving to the second stanza of the poem. If he went sailing in a boat, no one could make him understand why he seemed to be afloat and what had happened to the land. If he went sailing in a boat, if he went sailing, if he went floating in a boat, no one could make him understand. No one. Society cannot make him understand. Other people cannot make him understand why he seemed to be afloat, why he seemed to be floating, right? No one can make him understand why he seemed to be floating and what had happened to the land. That means, Lamai, here no one can make him understand that he is floating. Understand? The writer says that he cannot understand why he seemed to be floating. The writer says that. That is writer's idea. Very important thing I would raise here, that what is the writer's perspective? What is the writer's ideology about this upside down? As far as I see, Lamai, the writer's ideology is that writer sees upside down in the icon of the society. Understand? Writer sees upside down as the society sees. Writer represents the accepted idea of the society. Writer represents the accepted idea of the society. So through the society's icon, writer sees this, right? If he went, now writer says that he cannot understand the simple logic behind the boat sailing on water, right? Writer says that this upside down cannot understand the simple logic behind the boat sailing on water. You know, Lamai, when the boat is not weighed, boat doesn't weigh as much as the water, the boat floats automatically. That is the simple logic behind this. Understand? But writer says that he cannot understand this, right? But here we do not know that actually, although the writer says so, although the give me 1 minute. Sir. Oh, sir. අකුරු පැහැදිලිද සර්? ළමයි ගාව නම් මේක තියෙනවා සර්. මම නිකන් දාලා තියෙන්නේ. ළමයි ගාව මේක තියෙනවා. පොත තියෙනවා ළමයි ගාව. ඔව්. හරි. Thank you, sir. Okay, Lamai. Now here we have a question whether the writer expresses his idea or what he sees, right? Lamai, I think writer says his idea, right? Here, upside down seems to be pretending. Upside down seems to be pretending that he cannot understand why the board is afloat, why the board is floating. Understand? He may be pretending. He may be pretending. Why does he pretend? There's a question that raises. Another question to you, right? Why does he pretend? I suggest that the upside down is pretending, the upside down pretends that he cannot understand. Upside down pretends that he cannot understand. Then why does he pretend? What is the purpose behind it? Right. It's another question to you. Right. He pretends that he cannot understand why the board is floating. He pretends that he cannot understand what had happened to the land. He may pretend or may not. It's up to you to think, right? Okay. Next, Lamai. I am moving to the third stanza. He read his letters backside 4 and wrote his letters backside 4. So if a ton was to be read, he read it not, the dunderhead. He read his letters backside 4. Backside 4. He reads the backside first. He reads the backside of the word first. Wrote his letters backside 4. For example, the writer gives us an example. So if a ton was to be read, if he is going to read T-O-N, ton, T-O-N, ton, he read it N-O-T, not. Understand? The writer's attitude is that the dunderhead, stupid man, upside down is a stupid man. Understand? That is writer's perspective. Writer looks at upside down through the perspective of the society. Right? That is the society's ideology that upside down is foolish. Right? But we do not know whether he is foolish or not yet. Right? You have to think, argue, right? However, Lamai, I see this behavior to be dramatic. This behavior of upside down is dramatic. Understand? When he is told to turn to right, he turned to left. He does not understand why he seemed to be floating when he is sailing on a boat. He writes backside 4. He reads backside 4. His behavior is dramatic. Understand? His behavior is dramatic in the poem. You better take it down. Upside down's behavior is dramatic. Upside down's behavior is dramatic. It evokes emotions. It evokes. Then my question, if it is dramatic, which is a technique, if it is dramatic, which is a technique, what is the effect of this dramatic behavior presented in upside down? Lamai, that is humor. This dramatic behavior of upside down generates, evokes humor in the reader. You better take down. Dramatic behavior of upside down generates humor in the reader. Right. Now, here, the writer says that upside down is a dunderhead. That is right also represents the common accepted attitude of the society. Writer represents the common accepted attitude of the society. We have an accepted attitude, no? We have an accepted attitude of the society. Writer represents it. Right. Now, what kind of attitude does the writer have towards upside down? What is his attitude? which will be asked in the question in the papers in O level lamai. Those are the questions that are asked in the O level. What is the writer's attitude towards this character? Such questions are often asked, right? What is the attitude? Dunderhead, stupid, and upside down, and upside down. You see, just like a dog, and upside down. That is, through those terms, we can understand the attitude of the writer towards upside down. So my attitude is ridicule. Ridicule. The writer thinks that upside down is foolish, humorous. That is ridicule, right? Understand, that is ridicule. Writer's attitude is ridicule. Sarcasm, right? Ridicule, sarcasm, right? Irony. Okay. When one doesn't behave in the socially accepted way, that one is branded as stupid. That is what happens. When one doesn't behave in the socially accepted way, we have socially accepted ways, norms, rules. Understand? We have socially accepted. Samaje piliganna ක්‍රම තියෙනවා අපිට. When one doesn't behave in the socially accepted way, we say that he is a fool. He's branded as a stupid. He is branded as a stupid. But people behave in different ways. People do different things. Right. Our question is that, Lamai, why does this upside down behave so? Why does this upside down behave in the upside down manner? Right. Is this his ignorance? Is this his ignorance? Or does he do this deliberately, intentionally? Right? Does he do this deliberately? Does he do it? Is it his ignorance? You have question, no? Right. Now I am moving to the next line, next sentence, next stanza. All his life he was afraid to cross a bridge. He would always wait unless the water was too deep or the embankment was too steep. Right. All his life he was afraid. He feared. All his life he feared. He was scared of to cross a bridge. Now, when you have a bridge, you cross the bridge. You go over the bridge to cross the river. That is what conventional, traditional, normal, centric people do. But this man doesn't cross the bridge. Instead, he would always wade. Instead, he would wade. Wade means, Lamai, walk in shallow water. Walk in not deep water. Walk in not deep water, shallow water. Understand? He would wade. Lamai, he would always wade unless the water was too deep. He would always walk in water if the water was not too deep. If the water was not too deep. That's the thing you have to remember. If the water was not too deep, only he walks through water. So I have a question. Is he foolish? Is he foolish? Right? If he is foolish, he would wait even if the water was too deep. That is my argument. You think about it. If he is foolish, he would wait even if the water was too deep. So when water is too deep, he is not walking in water. That means he has even an iota of brains. He has some mind. He is not foolish, right? Then why does he do this, right? You can argue, right? When you write an appreciation, for this poem, you can argue like that, right? When you argue and support your argument with your own answers, your own solutions, you will be given specific marks. You will be given specific marks. It is mentioned in the marking scheme, right? It is mentioned in the marking scheme. If you have thought in a different way, right, you would be given, and it is logical. And if it is logical, you'll be given more marks. You will be given not actually more marks, specific regard to you, specific marks, right? Okay. Then he would always wait unless the water was too deep or the embankment was too steep. He would always walk, if not the embankment, riverbank, if not the riverbank was too deep. Embankment means riverbank. Riverbank was too deep. Deep means slope. You know slope, a decline, right? Slope. He wades in water. He walks in water. If the water was not too deep, if the embankment was not deep, understand? That means we cannot take that he is foolish, right? Then why do we say that he is foolish? The writer says that dunderhead. The writer says that he is a dunderhead. The writer says that he is an upside down. Then why? That's a question. Understand? Lamai, that is the socially accepted way. Society, it is the society that brands him as one who is foolish. It is society's perspective. It is society's perspective, right? Okay, if one behaves in unconventional way, we say he is foolish. That is society, right? Right, Lamai. Now, Lamai, actually this behavior is hilarious, right? This behavior of the upside down is hilarious. It evokes this foolish behavior. According to the society, this is foolish behavior. This foolish behavior of upside down evokes humor, farce. Understand? Evokes farce. This is hilarious, right? Now, this behavior is ironic. This behavior is not what is expected by the others. This behavior is not what is expected by the society. So it is ironic. Then you have another technique, irony, as a major technique used in the poem. Irony as a major technique in the poem, right? Actually, this is dramatic irony. There are three kinds of irony, right? Verbal irony, event irony, and dramatic irony. This is dramatic irony, right? Okay. Right. Now I am moving to the other stanza. He went into a restaurant. The waiter said, "What do you want?" He said, "I'd like a pair of socks with clocks on them in a box." Right. He went into a restaurant. The waiter said, "What do you want?" He said, "I would like a pair of socks with clocks on them and in a box." I would like, give me a pair of socks. In the restaurant, he is asking for a pair of socks in the restaurant. That is just like, Lamai, you go to a hardware and asking for a loaf of bread. That is just like you go to a hardware and ask for a loaf of bread. I would like a pair of socks with clocks on them. On the socks should be clocks and in a box. All things should be in a box, right? I would like a pair of socks, right? Lamai, this cannot be taken as foolish, right? This is intentional. This is definitely intentional. It is deliberate. He does this deliberately. There is a purpose behind this. Again, I raise the question, right? I keep you ticking. I keep you in suspense, right? Why does he do so? Right. Okay. Lamai, here you have another, I will introduce you two, three other techniques here, right? Your knowledge of techniques are also tested in the paper, in the first two questions of your paper, in the first two questions in the context paper. your knowledge about techniques can be tested. It has been tested so far, right? What do you want? It's a question. It's a question in the poem, right? It's a question. If you have a question in a poem, in literature, it is known as a rhetorical question, poetic question, right? It's a rhetorical question, which has a effect, right? Lamai, it's a rhetorical question, which makes the poem dramatic, which makes the language of the poem dramatic. Understand? It's a rhetorical question. In the previous syllabus, right? This is the new syllabus now. In the previous syllabus, I can remember some instance where such a question was asked. What is the technique employed here? Then you would have written rhetorical question. I can remember, right? This was asked, right? It's Lamai rhetorical, RHETORICAL, rhetorical question. Rhetorical means poetic, figurative question, right? What is the effect of it? I told you that each technique is used by writers to create some effect to the theme, subject matter of the poem, right? What is the intention of the question, right? To make the language of the poem dramatic, to make the language of the poem dramatic. It makes the language of the poem dramatic. Why? Lamai, you just suppose about drama. You have studied two dramas now. What are the two dramas? The Bear by Anton Chekhov and Twilight of a Crane by Junji Kinoshita, right? In drama, what you have is that you have questions asked by characters and responses given by other characters. Questions are asked, responses are given. That is drama. Dialogues are there. Dialogues. Here you have dialogues. If you have a dialogue in poetry, the language of the poetry is dramatic. If you have dialogues within inverted commas in poetry, the poem is dramatic. The language of the poem is dramatic, right? Right. What do you want? He said, I would like a pair of socks. You have the question and response. So the language is dramatic, which is another technique. Right. Now I am moving on to another sound device in this poem, right? Which is Lamai. You just think I would like a pair of socks. Last two letters socks. When it comes to the word socks, last two letters KS. Sound. We refer to the sound, not to the letters. We refer to the sound always. No matter what are the letters, we think of the sounds, right? X sound. X. Next, clocks. X case and box. X sound. X. Right? That is repeated. That is in literature. It is a sound device, sound technique that is known as sibilant. If you have the X sound, if you have X sound repeated, if you have ush, sh sound ush repeated, if you have s sound, s letter, the sound produced by letter s, ush, x. If you have those three sounds repeated somewhere in the neighboring lines, if you have those sounds repeated in neighboring lines in lines placed close by each other, right? That is known as sibilants. Sibilents. Sibilants. They are sibilants. Okay. You better take them down, right? They are sibilants. Here you have clocks, socks, clocks, box, which are sibilants, right? Then what is the effect of it? Lamai? Effect of humor. This X sound creates humor. That is the effect of sibilants. X sound creates humor. X creates sibilant, creates humor. Technique is sibilance, effect is humor. Their humor is not a technique. Their humor is an effect. That is a place where children go wrong. Children think that effects are techniques. Yes. When they are out of the poem, they are techniques. But inside the poem, inside a work, a technique can be an effect. Understand? Inside a work, a technique may go an effect. Understand? Here the technique is sibilant, effect is human, right? You want to take human as a technique, right? Okay. The other thing is, Lamai, this sound gives attraction to the sound of the poem. X sound, we say right? The sound to take attention, right? Attraction, attention. The X sound offers attention, attraction to the sound of the poem, right? Then another technique I can show you, socks or, clocks or letter, box or letter. 3 O's repeated. 3 O sounds actually, rather 3 O sounds repeated. That is assonance. Assonance, right? That is known as, you may know, assonance. In Sinhala, they are known as Lamai Anuprase. You may know Anuprase, right? Okay, they are also techniques. However, Lamai, this behavior, asking for a pair of socks with clocks on them and in a box, this behavior is comic. You better take down. This behavior is hilarious. Comic, C-O-M-I-C, C-O-M-I-C, comic. Understand? Okay. Then Lamai, I am going to another next stanza, right? The circus came to the town one day. Of course, he went without delay. And everyone said upside down was funnier than the circus clown. The circus, you know, circus, circus, the acrobats and clowns in the circus make the audience amuse. Acrobats of the circus make the audience amuse, you know. The circus came to town one day. Of course, indeed, upside down went without delay. Who was first to go to the circus? Who was the first to go to the circus? Upside down. Why? Why does he first go to the circus as a member of the audience, right? Why? Another question. Lamai, he knows that, upside down knows that circus audience is a place. Circus is a place where many people gather to entertain themselves, to have some fun, right? To be cheered up, right? Understand? He knows that it's a place where many people gather. He finds such places. He finds such places. Then what is his need? His need is that he wants to be the center focus. He wants to be the center focus. Cynosure. Center focus or cynosure. C-Y-N-O-S-U-R-E. C-Y-N-O-S-U-R-E. He wants to be the cynosure. Sarva Drushti Kendriya. He wants to attract the attention of everyone towards him. He wants to attract the attention, draw the attention of others towards him. He wants to be the cynosure. That's why he goes there. So we cannot say that he is foolish. So understand, what he does may appear as foolish to the society. What he does may appear to the society as foolish, but on the part of upside down, I don't say that he is foolish, but what he does is foolish to the society because he is unconventional. He is eccentric. He is eccentric, unusual. Understand? Okay. Lamai, the other thing is that people do different things. People do different things. People do different things. Understand? Now, when it comes to Lamai, some people, now let's discuss now, right? Now, why does this upside down behave this way? He reads backside 4. He writes backside 4. He goes to the restaurant and asks for a pair of socks. He pretends not to understand why the boat is floating in water. Understand? Why does he do so? He goes to the circus first. He is the one who goes to the circus first. There should be an intention behind his behavior. There should be an intention behind that behavior. You can suggest in your answers that he may have this intention. He may have this intention to do so, right? For example, now he may be enjoying himself. He may be enjoying himself by doing these things. That's my idea. He may be enjoying himself by doing these things. He doesn't like to be conventional. He does not want to do what others do. That's why he turned to left out of spite. That's why he turned to left out of spite. Understand? He doesn't like. People enjoy themselves by some people enjoy themselves by joking to others. Some people enjoy themselves by putting others in trouble. Some others enjoy themselves by lying, deceiving others. By lying or deceiving others. Some others enjoy themselves by gossiping. Some others enjoy themselves by helping others or creating new things. Different positive, negative, neutral ways they enjoy themselves. Then Lamai, this upside down maybe this upside down may be enjoying himself by doing this way, by behaving upside down manner. Understand? That is his way of enjoying himself. That is his way of enjoying himself. But to the society, it is foolish. But to the society, it is foolish, right? He is eccentric. That is the thing, right? Society brands him as foolish because that behavior is eccentric, not centric. That behavior is unconventional. That behavior is outlandish, unorthodox, unusual. Understand? That's why. Right. Next, Lamai. The circus came to town one day. Of course, he went without delay, and everyone said upside down was funnier than the circus clown. Right? Upside down was funnier than the circus clown. He outdid. You see, he defeated. He has outdone the circus clown in his funny things. So Lamai, this upside down can be represented. Yes, upside down can be introduced as an attention seeker. This upside down can be introduced as an attention seeker. Understand? He is an attention seeker, attention finder. Understand? He is an attention finder, seeker, attention seeker. That's a term in the language. Attention seeker. It's a term. You write with confidence. Right. Okay. Lamai, he enjoys himself by amusing others. But the thing is that it sounds foolish. It appears foolish to the society. So the society, that's why society says that he is foolish. Everything is comparative. Yes, everything is comparative. Comparative. Everything is, yes, understand. Everything in the world is comparative, right? Okay. Next stanza. Just yesterday, the postman brought a letter to him from his aunt. Shall I read it? Perhaps I ought, perhaps I will, perhaps I can't. Postman brought a letter. What is a letter, Lamai? What is a letter? A letter is Lamai. In the past, actually, in the past, a letter was a token of remembrance. A letter was a token of remembrance. In the past, there were no mobile phones. There were no telegram. There were no anything like this, right? A letter is a token of remembrance to beloved one, right? A letter is a token of remembrance by a beloved one, right? Uh, people would love receiving letters in the past. People would love receiving letters in the past. Why? The letter is from someone beloved to him. The letter is from his aunt or mother, father, or someone or friend. So now you also, when you have a message, you would love to read it. When you have a missed call, you would love to see who he is or she is. Then Lamai, a letter is a token of remembrance. We love receiving letters. We love reading letters. But when it comes to today, Lamai, we have letters, official letters we would hate. There is something else. I'm not talking about them. Right. A letter, right? A letter to him from his aunt. Okay. Then Lamai, shall I read it? He thinks, upside down thinks, shall I read it? Perhaps I ought, perhaps I should. Yes, I should read this. Perhaps means Lamai, maybe. Perhaps means maybe. Maybe is a single word, not two words, right? Maybe I ought, maybe I should read. Maybe I will read later. Maybe I will read later. Perhaps I will read later. Perhaps I can't read it. Now, what he does is that he keeps thinking. What he thinks is that he keeps thinking whether to read the letter or not. Lamai, there's a saying in this way. There's a saying this way. What is the saying? The one who thinks too much does not leap. The one who thinks too much does not leap. The one who leaps does not think too much. You understand? The one who thinks too much does not leap. Hita hita inne kena painne. Painne kena hita hita inne. So, what kind of person is this? This upside down is one who thinks too much. Oh, so he is not going to leap. So he is not going to leap. Why? He keeps thinking. That means he is not going to leap. He is not going to read the letter. He is not going to read the letter. But you would like to read the letter. You reader, would like to read the letter. But upside down doesn't. So upside down is an upside down. Upside down is an upside down. He is not traditional. He is not conventional. He is eccentric. He is unorthodox. Understand? He does the opposite of what others normally do. He does the opposite of what others normally do. Understand? Okay, here also, Lamai, you have a repetition. Repetition of perhaps that has been shortened. Perhaps is shortened to create some effect. Perhaps, which is repeated 3 times. Lamai, that is repetition as a technique. You better take it down, repetition. It is repetition, right? The repetition reveals his disinterest to read the letter. This repetition of perhaps reveals us his disinterest to read the letter. Understand? Thinking too much means that he is not going to read the letter. Thinking too much is that he is not going to read the letter. Okay. Normal people love to receive letters because they love to be remembered by others, right? Normal people love to read the letters. Why? They love to be remembered by others. They love to be remembered by others. Then they think that they are not alone. They think that they are not alone. They are being remembered by others. We people love to be remembered by others, by letters, but he doesn't. So he is an upside down. He is eccentric. Understand? Okay. Now I am moving to the next stanza. He eyed it this way, eyed it that. Then he stuck it in his head. His auntie wrote, dearest boy, all you do is to annoy. He eyed it. Eyed means I looked. He looked at the letter and that way and this way. Normally we break the letter and read inside, no? He didn't do it. He may have not broken the letter and read it. He eyed it this way and that way. He eyed the sides of the envelope or letter, right? This behavior is opposite to that of normal accepted people, right? He eyed it this way, that way. Then he stuck in his head. Then he stuck. Stuck means lamai fixed. Then he fixed the letter in his head. His auntie wrote, "Dearest boy, all you do is to annoy." His auntie had written, "Dearest boy, my son, all you do is to annoy. All you do annoys me. All you do makes me angry. All you do makes me angry, annoys me." That's what the auntie has written. Ramai, you see auntie's use of words. Dearest boy, dearest, not dear. The superlative form of the adjective is used by the aunt. Dearest. What is the perspective of, what is the attitude of the aunt? Attitude of love, Lamai. That's why she says, dearest boy. Dearest boy, all you do is to annoy. What you do annoys me, son. Right? Then here, aunt is love to the son. Aunt is love to the son-in-law is revealed. You better take down. Such things can be questions in your paper, right? Aunt is love to the son-in-law. Aunt is love to the son-in-law is revealed here. Dearest boy, right? The aunt also represents the society, right? Just like the writer. All you do is to annoy, right? Okay. Now, last stanza, which is where you will have the climax, right? Climax of the narrative. This can be taken as a sort of narrative with the past tense used, right? And questions and responses. Wearing flannels when it is hot, going naked when it is not. You must behave as others do if you are to have respect for you, right? Lamai, wearing flannels. Flannels means lamai cloth materials, pieces of clothes, cloth materials, cloth materials, pieces of clothes. Wearing flannels when it is hot. Lamai, normal people wear as less as possible with when it is hot. You see, when it is hot, normal people wear as less as possible. When it comes to Suddha people or white people, they wear as less as possible when it is hot. But this man going naked this man wearing flannels when it is hot. He wears many when it is hot. So he is an upside down. He is unconventional. He does not what we do. He does not what we do, right? Going naked when it is hot, not. Going naked when it is not. Lamai. He goes to the extreme of going naked. He goes to the extreme of going naked to attract attention to himself as an attention seeker. Understand? That is the climax. That's the climax. In the end, he goes, that is an exaggeration as well, right? These are exaggerations. You take down as an exaggeration, right? Hyperbole. This behavior is hyperbolic. Normal people never do so. This behavior is ironic. Behavior is ironic, which is the technique. This behavior is dramatic, ironic. Effect is hyperbole. Effect is hyperbole, exaggeration, humor. Understand? Technique is irony. Understand? Effect is hyperbole or exaggeration, humor. Understand? He goes to the extreme of going naked. Then you think what happens? Then what happened to him? Right? Normal people wear as less as possible, but he wears many when it is hot. When it is not hot, when it is not hot, when it is cold, he goes naked. This is unconventional. So in the end, Lamai, he goes to the extreme of going naked as an attention seeker with the purpose of seeking attention. What happened to him? In the process of seeking attention, he lost his wits. That is his foolishness. Understand? That is his foolishness. In the process of enjoying himself, you better this take down. In the process of enjoying himself by amusing others, he goes to the extreme of it and loses his sense of intellect, which is foolish. Understand? Which is foolish to the society. That is what happened, right? Lamai, when we do something to enjoy ourselves to its extreme, not in the middle path, when one does something in terms of enjoying himself, he loses his wits, he loses his sense of intellect and goes to the extreme without his knowledge, goes to the extreme without his knowledge. That's what has happened to Upside Down. And he is subject to be laughed at. In the end, he is subject to be laughed at by the society. That is the after effect of enjoying himself by being the center focus. Understand? When we enjoy ourselves by doing something, we should keep to the mid of it. We should keep to the middle of it, middle path of it. Otherwise, it goes outlandish, it goes unorthodox. Then we will be laughed at by the society. This is the message. Understand? This is the message. We should not go to the extreme of enjoying ourselves. Some people you may have seen, right? Some people go to the extreme of drinking and they become subject to be laughed at. Understand? Then going naked when it is not. Now, Lamai, this aunt seems to be a sensible woman. Aunt seems to be sensible because she's not going to the extreme of enjoying herself like Upside Down goes. So she's a sensible woman. Understand? You can introduce the aunt as a sensible woman, whereas you introduce Upside Down as outlandish, as eccentric. The other thing is, Lamai, I saw in him is that he doesn't like to behave in the conventional manner. He doesn't like to behave in the conventional manner. He doesn't like to behave in the socially accepted manner, normal manner. So he can be interpreted as a maverick. He can be interpreted as a maverick. M-A-V-E-R-I-C-K. He is a maverick. Maverick means, Lama, in the dictionary defines maverick one who is unconventional or does not abide by the norms, riti, right? One who is unconventional or does not abide by the rules, norms, is a maverick. Understand? This maverick, M-A-V-E-R-I-C-K, right? Maverick. This maverick, but Lamai goes to the extreme of enjoying himself and becomes a neurosis. That's what happens to him. He becomes a neurosis. Neurosis means, Lamai, he's a person with a mental disorder. Manasika prashnayak vinameka. He goes to the extreme of enjoying himself and becomes a neurosis. N-E-U-R-O-S-I-S. Understand? Okay. Now, you see the after effect of unorthodox behavior. He loses, what does he lose? Now, here you have to find the after effect of his unorthodox behavior. You must behave as others do if they are to have respect for you. Aunt says, Lamai, you must behave as others do, as the society behave, normal, conventional, accepted manner. if you want to have respect from the society, if you want to have respect from the society, you have to abide by the norms, social norms, social rules, socially accepted manner, right? But he does not so. That's why society brands him as a fool and upside down. Understand? Hmm? The after effect of his unorthodox behavior is that he loses his respect from the society. He loses his respect from the society. That is the after effect. Okay. Okay, Lamai. Now we are moving to discuss the themes, messages, and techniques of this poem, right? We are going to discuss the themes, messages of this poem. Huh? Okay. Before that, let's see the subject. What is the subject matter of this poem? Now here on the screen, you may see the subject of this poem, subject matter. Eccentric behavior of upside down to get others' attention and admiration. That is what you have in the poem as the subject matter. Eccentric, outlandish behavior or unconventional behavior of this central character to get others' attention and admiration. That is the subject. You better take them down, right? Next, the style of the poem, right? The style of the poem is that it is dramatic narrative. It's got dramatic narrative in the third person. It's a lyrical poem. The poem is lyrical. Understand? The poem is emotional and singable. That is why it is lyrical. Emotional, singable. It is lyrical, right? That can be shown here, lyrical nature. You see, you refer to the last words of the first stanza. Last words of the first stanza. Downtown, right, spite. A, B, B. Second line, second stanza. Board, understand. Afloat, land. C, D, right? Likewise, you have end rhyme. You have end rhyme. You can write end rhyme sequence, right? End rhyme sequence. So the poem is lyrical. It's got a rhythm, right? Rhythm changes. It is not regular. Rhythm changes, but unlike Shakespearean sonnets, right? Next, Lamai, tone. Tone means, what is tone? Tone means, Lamai, the sound of the poem that is generated by the writer's attitude towards the subject matter. Tone means the sound of the poem, the sound of the words. Tone means sound of the words created by the writer's attitude to the subject matter. Understand? Tone is sarcastic, ridicule. Tone is sarcastic, ridicule. Understand? That is a tone. Next, Lamai, you have some techniques as well. You have a series of references to the various antics done by the youth, which is a technique, specific technique. You may not see that technique in other poems, so it is not common. It is specific to this work. You have exaggeration. He's wading through water. He's asking for a pair of socks in the restaurant. Those things are exaggeration. Understand? Hyperbole. Then you have irony. Irony. His behavior is irony. Irony means, Lamai, that is not what is the socially accepted behavior. His is not the socially accepted behavior. That is irony. His behavior is ironic. Except, understand? He gains disdain, disrespect out of his out of his behavior, right? Next, Lamai, you see intention of the poem, intention or message, right? Let's see the intention. To show how one's action must be acceptable acceptable society to win people's regard and respect. Lamai, this poem gives the message that this poem shows how one's action must be acceptable. Your actions must be acceptable by the society to win people's regard and respect. If you are to win people's regard, respect, admiration, you have to behave according to the socially acceptable manner. That is the intention of the poem, which can be taken as a message as well. Message, a universal truth in the poem, right? Okay, next, I have specified the themes of the poems as well, right? Themes as general theme, specific theme, and sub-themes, right? When it comes to the general theme means, Lamai, there are themes which are themes in number of books, dramas, movies, novels, poems. You have these themes, which are known as general themes. Human weakness. This is a human weakness. Understand? This is a human weakness. He goes to the extreme of enjoying himself and be subject to be laughed at. That's what happens to him. He goes to the extreme of enjoying himself by doing unconventional things and be subject to be laughed at. That is his human weakness. He goes to the extreme, right? I introduced the general theme as human weakness or humor, right? Then Lama, a specific theme. What is the central idea, specific theme of the work? This is the specific importance of respecting social norms in order to be recognized and respected in the society. Lama, it is important to behave as others do. Otherwise, you are not recognized. You are not respected in the society. Understand? Again, you refer to it. Importance of respecting social norms, rules, traditions. Importance of respecting social norms in order to be recognized and respected in the society. Right. That's a specific theme. Next, Lamai, you have sub-themes here. Subordinate themes, right? Sub-themes. Extreme eccentricity is a means of seeking attention. Lamai, this extreme eccentricity, this extreme unconventional manner, upside down's extreme unconventional behavior is a means of seeking attention. Not only in upside down, some other people also do these eccentric things as a means of seeking attention. Some people have different ways of haircut. Some others have different ways of hairstyles. Some have tattoos, right? This extreme eccentricity is a means of seeking attention, right? He is an attention seeker, right? That is another sub-theme. Next one, different ways of enjoying oneself. He enjoys himself by being unconventional. By being unconventional. Next one, Lamai, how one loses one's sense of intellect by way of enjoying oneself. Here, the poet shows how one loses one's sense of intellect. Upside down loses his sense of intellect, mind, as a means of enjoying himself. When he goes to the extreme of enjoying himself by being unconventional, he loses his sense of intellect and subject to be laughed at by the society. That's what happens to him. Right. Those are the things I have to discuss about this poem Upside Down. I think you have understood what I explained. Yes. Rasika madam, are you there? Rasika madam, are you there? Okay. Those are the things, Lamai. If you have questions, you can message, or you can, yes, you can message. I think the lesson was very clear to you, which will be very helpful for you. And you will be seeing this in the YouTube as well, right? You refer to it again and again. Take what I taught you. Okay, last of all, Lamai, I would like to give you a question as well in terms of this work, right? You take down the question this way. Yes. You better take down the question this way. Yes. Discuss the theme. How one becomes subject to be laughed at. Discuss the theme as to how one becomes subject to be laughed at by the society by way of enjoying himself. By way of enjoying himself. That is my question. You can write an essay type question by arguing on the particular topic, and you should not forget to add your own general idea, your own personal idea as well, right? You can write about the general idea of the society about this eccentric behavior, your idea, which will be given specific marks, and also argumentative element of argument you can add, and you can use figurative language in your answer, right? And insert quotations in the question, and start your answer with an introductory paragraph by introducing what you are going to address. You address the question in the first paragraph, which is first paragraph is known as introductory paragraph, and then you can argue in the later paragraphs to come. In the end, you can give a conclusion about the particular theme I gave you, right? Use technical terms. Never forget to use the technical terms in your answer, which will be given specific marks. Understand? Technical terms. The opening, middle, and end of your answer should be tied together. Understand? You are not you are not to go haywire. You are not to go everywhere haywire. There should be a good connection between the opening, middle, and the conclusion of your answer. Understand? Then your answer will have a good completion and will be given additional specific marks, right? Always try to write a specific answer, right? Without writing a general, ordinary answer, right? Add something more and be specific, right? That is my message in the end. Rasika madam, are you there? Yes, she seems to have left. Okay, then I am going to finish my lesson for today, Lamai. I hope that you all have enjoyed my lesson, or if you have responses, you can send it to me. Right, then goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity for our director, sir, and Rasika madam, and everyone. Yes. To everyone, keep safe. Okay.